And we're going to try something this time in recording the program and then having it on our website. We tried that for just a few minutes yesterday, and it was 5 megabytes, so it's going to be a seriously large file, but Dan thinks we can upload it to our website, and so somebody could listen to it if they'd like to. Now I've got to get off of that, and there. Let's see if we can move the page up. There we go. Our first thing, park perks. This is an idea that came out of Juab County. When I was down in Emery County last week, Mike pointed out that this was similar to what they had tried to do. Anyway, what it amounts to, and we've got this approved through the Division of Natural Resources and the Tourism Department. They're the ones that made up the, you're looking at just the top half of the sheet, but what it amounts to is those 3 spaces below, and then there's another line of spaces below that. The local businesses can put in their coupon and request that, you know, as an incentive for people that are visiting the state parks to come to their establishment, and hopefully if they structure the giveaway right, that it actually will make them some money in doing so. So this is it's a great idea, and we have the Fred Hayes, the park superintendent for all the state parks, has instructed his people to when these coupons are given to them, that they will hand them out to every state park visitor. So it's up to the local folks to get the local businesses, get them on there. 3 coupons, 6 coupons on the whole page can be merged so that whatever size, it's a flexible thing, but it's got the professional look, and so that it's a hopefully it'll be a little benefit to you. There's no money to pay for the paper, and the printing, that's up to the local effort that way.
Lynn, this is Wes. Who do the local people contact to do this? It sounds like the burden's on the local people to go out and contact businesses and get the stuff printed, but who do they work with with the state park?
The state park superintendents have all been instructed that when these coupon things are given to them, that they are to begin handing them out.
So they work with the local parks?
Yes.
At the level?
Yes. The local park superintendent is, if he doesn't want to do it, the state park superintendent is reluctant to do it, then let me know, and we will talk to Fred Hayes and get that straightened around. But the tourism people, they're the ones that put the thing together, and he sent that instruction out to his parks that they're to be handed out. But it is up to the local people. Everybody should have received this already. We sent it out to the economic development people, and tourism have sent it out to the tourist people. So as far as we know on this end, it's this form is out to everybody. Okay, moving along. One of the things that we have found, we all know that we did the, you know, what's your #1 priority effort. That has been an education. Somebody back there. Why don't you please mute your locations so that it doesn't disturb everybody. Anyway, one of the things that it's been an educational process on our priority levels, and on our first priority, second priority, and things like that. And that's been a learning experience for us and for, I think, many of you. We've honestly tried to accomplish those goals and those priorities. Some of them we did. We did some policy changes 2 or 3 months ago, and we're beginning to see the results of that. We've approved 2 or 3 fast-track grants that are tourist-based. After we're done with this meeting today, we're going to we're having another meeting, and we've got 4 fast-track grants, and I believe most of them are a tourist-related kind of operation. We've received 2 recently, 2 fast-track grants where the company was frankly losing money in their financial statements, and that's a difficult thing to do. And there's an important difference between negative cash flow and negative profit. But that's a fine line, particularly if that company is expanding. If they are in a negative profit mode, yes, they don't pay taxes, but they don't also have the cash flow sometimes that they need to take on this expansion. And so as you're visiting with those businesses, I'd urge some kind of caution there in talking to the company and making sure that they're making a financial decision that they can follow through with. All right, as far as the priorities, the priority list goes, we feel that strongly that there needs to be more thought into what these priorities are. Each area needs to be thinking legitimately, what do we need to do as an area, as a county or a multi-county area to grow. And that's the reason I had Senator Reid come and talk to our rural summit, or our rural day on the Hill, because I felt that he explained it in a way that I could understand it. And that is if you're building a mall, you start out with your 4 anchor tenants, 3 or 4 anchor tenants. And sometimes you actually have to pay the anchor tenants to be there so that the businesses in the middle spaces, that's where the profit is for running a mall, and that's what you want to grow up. Rural Utah, rural areas need to define what their anchor tenants are, what their important aspects, economic aspects of their areas are. And that can vary depending on the area and the size of the area and the sophistication of the area. But each area will have something like that. It can be tourism. It can be, in Carbon and Emery County, it can be coal and power plants. It can be all kinds of different types of things. The college is a major player, and that type of thing. Identify who those anchor tenants are, what needs to be done to strengthen them, and then what needs to be done to move the businesses to support that and to grow off of that. And this process needs to be broad. It can include several different priorities. We were adamant about saying, okay, what is your number one priority? And that's all well and good, and we're still going to be looking for the one you want us to focus on. But this is a fundamental change from the way rural development has been done in the past in Utah, and it's one that for the foreseeable future will continue. And that is that we want you to tell us, rural areas to tell us what needs to be fixed, done in the area so that you can grow. And that isn't an easy question. And it requires more than 1 or 4 people to think through that. It's important that you involve the businesses and who your major players are so that some good ideas can come from that. We have been surprised at the number, GOED generally, has been surprised at the number of outdoor recreation items, trails, and related facilities. The needs that have come out of, it's just, they're coming from all over the place. It's just amazing how many trails and outdoor recreation. It does help that we got Brad Peterson running around, but we're killing him off. And we're making a concerted effort between Jake in our department and Brad to spread that work out and to coordinate on a weekly or at least a bi-weekly basis the outdoor recreation kinds of discussions that are going on in the rural areas and what we can do with that. Is there a multi-county aspect to what your anchor tenants are? Should we be considering that type of thing? If that's the case, then for heaven's sakes, talk to the other area and get that coordinated. We're going to be looking for 4 major things. And frankly, this has been plagiarized from Washington County's strategic plan that they have across there. There's nothing sacred about it, but there are some good principles here. We want major actionable goals. We had one county suggest we had one county suggest that they had too many deer on the road and wanted us to help solve that problem. Well, being the good bureaucrat that I am, I checked into the cost of 50-millimeter long-range guns for Jake and Dan, but ran into the policy of Spencer and Chris don't want loaded guns in the building for obvious reasons. So we're not going to be able to take care of the deer problem in that particular county.
Lynn, can you hear me?
One more time?
Somebody's got to mute their phone. A lot of echo.
I can mute everybody here, and that'll clear it up from what people are hearing, but then you can't respond. So please mute your individual phone, and so that this thing can continue along.
Unmuted.
We want major actionable goals. We want measures of success. How do we know when we've accomplished this? Put some dates down there. Throw that spear out into the wet cement and put some dates so that we know when we think realistically this can be accomplished. What are the critical strategies? What steps need to be brought about to accomplish this goal? It may be legislation. So obviously we can't have a June date. It's got to be June of next year. if it's legislation that needs to happen. What are the critical strategies with dates? And who are the implementation players? Who are the people that need to be involved with this? Is it other areas? Is it other towns? Is it your legislators, your commissioners, GOED, or parts of GOED that need to be involved to accomplish this priority and these steps? Is there a bad echo? All right, I'll move. All right, Dan's telling me we got a bad echo. I'll click it all off and mute everybody, so that should clean that up. All right, moving quickly along. Maybe. Our BEAR program, it frankly is not being handled the way it needs to be. And this will, and it has been for several years, and will continue to be a mainstay of GOED's rural program. It isn't going away. The activity is spotty. The results from the visits and other activities are not consistently being measured and recorded. Of the 25 rural counties, and that's all of them.
Could you go back and talk about the priorities? Because of the echo, a lot of people
Couldn't hear?
Yeah.
Okay. Dan's telling me I got to back up. All right, so we're back to the priorities. Saying a lot of people couldn't hear there. We want a broad discussion. Seriously consider outdoor recreation types of things, trails, trail facilities, anything that's related to outdoor needs. We've again been surprised at the number of these kinds of activities that's going on and that need to be handled. Consider if your goal, your priority includes another area. If this is a multi-area aspect, there's nothing wrong with that. But be sure and talk to the other area and coordinate the kinds of united efforts that the two counties or more want to do. The 7-county consortium, the Southeast Utah Economic Development, whatever they call themselves, is a phenomenal organization in its concept and in what kinds of things it can do. 7 counties are coming together to talk about common transportation, energy-related kinds of projects, and focusing on how to move them forward for the benefit of all the counties. This has promise and is starting to do that already, of being a very important effort in the 7 eastern counties. It ranges from Daggett clear down to San Juan and everything in the middle. We want to include, and again, I stole this from Scott Hershey. I'm clear to, but you know, given his brilliance, it's easy to do. We want major actionable goals. What are your priorities, and what are realistically, what can, you know, something needs to be done. How are you going to measure that? What kinds of measures of success? How will you know that you've accomplished that goal? And set dates. Set dates when you want to have that done. Identify what the critical strategies are. What things need to be brought into line so that this goal can be accomplished, that this priority can be accomplished on the local level or whatever level that you're dealing with. Include dates on that. And then who are the players? If it's just you and me, maybe we can do it. But if there's others involved or that should be involved, let's do that, because the likelihood of success improves with involving others. This whole process is an important and fundamental change in how economic development is being done by GOED in rural areas. And this is, I think this is going to be this way for some time in the future. Okay. Can I go forward, Dan? Dan's my monitor over there. Okay. BEAR program. It isn't going away. Use it. It's in all 25 counties. Of those 25 counties, 9 counties show no visits in the last 13 months. This just isn't going to go forward that way. The percentage of action items, I mean, the reason why you visit the businesses is to find a reason to help them. And that's the action item, or the referrals. That ranges from 0% to 560%. That means for every visit, there were 5.5 referrals that came out of that visit. Now, in this particular county, they didn't have very many visits, but they were working that. BEAR is a proven to increase economic development in local businesses. It just really is. And let me show you the next thing here. And that is, on the left column, we have all of the BEAR visits as a percentage of total. I intentionally took the counties off of that, to identify them. But I want you to notice the general trend, if you will. On the right side is the dollar amount of fast-track grants that have been issued in those respective counties. Now, there are 3 of them that say NA. They were not available. Fast-track was not available in those areas. That has been changed so that in many areas of those particular counties, fast-track grants can be granted, and they can be involved, some of them, with tourism-related aspects. But if you'll notice, and I think everybody understands, on the left side there's 35.73%. That's Carbon County. The one underneath it is Emery County, 6.68%. So, and this is over several years. The visits, Carbon and Emery County has done 43% of all the visits that's been done. It's not by accident. If you look on the right side for those 2 counties, that 50% of the fast-track grants that have been issued since the program began been issued to businesses in Carbon and Emery County. If you go down through those other counties, on the left side, 2.55% of the visits, 2.87% of the fast-track dollars, 2.7% visits, 3.55% of fast-track dollars. There's some variance in there. The one, here we go, 0.9% of the visits and 2.7% of the dollars. It isn't hard and fast, but it is remarkably close. There's a reasonably close correlation between the number of visits, the number of businesses that you're telling about the grants, and the number of grants that are given out in that particular county. This is not just last year. This is several years that are involved with those particular numbers. Here is the GOED report that we have available. The total up there, and this is over the last 13 months. There's been 2,002 visits done in the state. Of those action items, there have been 1,846, or 92%, of the visits receive action items or generate referrals. That's almost a one-to-one relationship, and you can see your particular county and where those visits are being done, and the number of action items that's coming, the number of referrals that's coming from those visits. And again, Millard, Linda out there, only 5 visits, but boy, she generated a bunch of referrals off of it at 560%. But this is the overall spread. This report is going to be sent out to every county in the future. We're going to let everybody see what everybody else is doing. And this brings us to our current contracts that we want to talk about. We are mulling over these various aspects of BEAR contracts. There have been a lot of other kinds of things that have been added to BEAR contracts for the last 2 years. That will change. The contracts are going to be focused and based on the number of visits being made to the businesses. Other projects, other activities, and other event funding will be a ratio based on the number of company visits. And again, these are concepts that we want to consider in the BEAR contracts that are going forward. The action items or the referrals being generated will also be measured. Right now, we're almost statewide at a one-to-one ratio there, and that seems to be a good ratio to expect. That means that on average, for every visit made, there will become a referral or an action item. Now, some visits you do aren't going to have action items, but some that you'll do, and Linda will show us how to do that, how you have 5 visits and get 28 action items. So that will be part of that program. Program matrix on Executive Pulse. The metrics is how it's measured. What are the results of these visits, these action items? In jobs generated, you can come up here and see, no, I didn't include it there. So far out of those 2,000 visits, let me find the numbers here quickly. In the last year, there have been roughly, as I recall here, in the last, this is 2 years, there have been 409 jobs created and 575 jobs retained. Many of those, and 324 jobs filled. So we've got 400 jobs created, 575 jobs retained, and 324 jobs filled. Those jobs filled would be referrals to DWS. My company needs somebody. We'll have DWS fill that or help fill that job. The value of the visits, the cost savings, the public investment, the private investment, all of those are factors in measuring the effectiveness of the visits. Adjustments will be made for the smallest counties. We've got Daggett County out there with 55 visits, or 55 businesses. Now we will be sending out, DWS has the number of businesses that are reporting to DWS. we found in Carbon and Emery County, they report about 800 businesses in the two counties, but we know there are close to 1,400 businesses in those counties. The others just don't have to deal with or report to DWS. That's the same in varying degrees in all of the counties. So when we look at Daggett and they have 55 businesses, we know there are a few more than that, but there aren't many. And so there's going to be some adjustments made for those smaller counties. At least that's, I think, is a reasonable thing to do. The details of the program are going to be reviewed in the GRPB, the Governor's Rural Partnership Board meeting on April 17th in Ephraim. So you're invited to attend and to discuss that. We want you to consider a business visited program and what your goals are, what your action items are, and what the overall program for your county will be. In the next 2 weeks, we want to get all of the third quarter billings into Dan. The end of March, that's the end of the third quarter of the program, and we want to get all of those billings brought up to date and current, so that by the 10th of July, which will be the end of the fourth quarter, we can get that information in and the final billings paid out and sent to you. This is coming from finance, and frankly, there's no reason not to do it. There's nothing going to be paid after the 10th of July. So we want to get these things brought up and current for the third quarter, get everything cleaned up, and then so the final quarter can be submitted at the end of June and payments made. The new contracts will be due, proposals will be due by May 15th, and they'll become effective the 1st of July. And we will get those out. We're not going to have the problems that we've had in the past on that. Oh, another aspect of that, of the bear, it's critically important that you meet as a bear group in your community at least monthly. And frankly, that just isn't enough. If you're going to have an effective program in whatever you're doing, in your priorities list, and bringing together the players in that priorities list, that needs to be discussed, I believe, on a bi-monthly basis. And you can, it becomes then, there's enough, it's short enough time that you can act on it and remember it. If it's a monthly meeting, then it just becomes a monthly meeting and it loses its effectiveness in getting get done. But you meet every month or 2 weeks and discuss what the visits for that month have come up with. What are you learning? What are the businesses telling you? And what action needs to be taken, what policies need to be taken into effect. Every visit, you know, you don't want to bother the companies. You need to bring a value with every visit. And that can be fast track. Obviously, Carbon and Emery County have been doing that. Everybody's been told about it. And we're delivering beneficial programs that can help not every business, but a large number of businesses, and that helps grow your local economy. Go with a purpose for every visit. Why are you going there? Why are you bothering? Why are you bothering them? Okay. In the next few weeks, we're going to be sending out a letter from GOED to all the mayors, city councils, and county commissioners. we're going to have an incentive explanation sheet, kind of a general sheet that tells about the various incentives that are available, such as enterprise zone and its benefits, and recycling zones and their benefits. Recycling zones are for absolutely everyone and in every area. So there's no restrictions there. In the letter, we will actually say whether or not that town or county has an enterprise zone or a recycling zone and what its expiration date is. Both zones expire every 5 years and need to be renewed. We're going to talk about the rural 501c3 advantages and how that can help. We've asked the SBDC if they would be able to forward this information to the businesses directly through their network to see if we can let everybody know about this. The letters will all say, if you have any questions, concerns, or want to participate in any of this, contact your local economic development professional. That's Ewan's. So we're going to encourage the local folk to visit with that. There are over 200 towns and commissioners, towns and counties that these letters are to be going out to. And so we want to educate people about that. Next thing, and then I'll open this up, see if there's any questions or if we can discuss it, if I've glanced over everything. LSI is a company that primarily focuses on government contracting. They are experts as far as grant writing. GoEd has entered into a contract with them to help GoEd obtain grants. And as their charge is there's money for about 3 or 4 grants. At least 2 of them are to be rural grants and rural area grants. They're an asset to us. It's an experimental program that we think will be beneficial. We'd worked with Box Elder after our initial go-through with our priorities list. We felt like Box Elder and Juab counties had water issues that needed to be, that maybe a grant would be helpful to them. As we got into the details in both Box Elder and Juab, it didn't pan out, didn't work. And so we are actively looking for other rural projects. We might have one with Ken Davey and Mayor Dave down in Moab in Grand County, but we are looking actively for areas where we can, where LSI can serve as a resource to find grant activities, to help write the grant and to apply for them, and to see if that can happen. So this is a resource. Again, we're looking for direction there from you. And if you have something in mind, send me an email and let's explore it further. Final thing here, dates to remember and meetings to attend. The Governor's Economic Summit is April 3rd, Grand America. The Governor's Rural Partnership Board at Snow College in Ephraim on the 17th. Lunch will be served at 12:30. We'll probably start the meeting at 1, and it'll go until we die, I guess. No, the Lieutenant Governor's got to be out, and he's got other commitments after 4 need to be made. The dates of GRPB meetings in large respect are based on the Lieutenant Governor's calendar. And so we So there isn't a regularly scheduled kind of time for doing that. Our next rural webinar, this kind of thing that we're doing now, will be held the 22nd at 8:30. And so put that on your schedule, and I'll put it on mine, and we'll see what we can do. Utah Alliance meeting up in Box Elder County. I think it's in Tremonton on April 25th. That's a fun thing to do and always enjoyable. It includes rural and urban businesses, and the presidency, presidents and vice presidents of the organization really make an effort to make it worth attending. The Outdoor Summit, May 8th at the Salt Palace. This is an important thing for those who have outdoor recreation projects that they're thinking about or working on. The breakout session will be specifically on ideas about developing the business, dealing with outdoor recreation, trails, and etc. One of the things that has so impressed me about Brad Peterson, he says we can build a trail, but what's the business plan behind it? How is that trail going to be sustained, and what economic benefit will come to the existing businesses in the area as a benefit from having this trail or activity? And then the Governor's Energy Development Summit, held June 3rd and 4th up at the Salt Palace. And if you want to go to that, you need to register right now, because that thing, I know it was sold out last year. So that you need to be applying for that. Okay, that's a fast and dirty with no feedback. Are there any questions or comments? I've unmuted you so you can speak up if you would like.
Delynn, would you be able to forward the PowerPoint?